Hey y'all, I guess it didn't go like I wanted to, but I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the dating game part 2.
Welcome to the
Now I
dating
want to
game.
play again.
As you
Ain't
are
that
logging
something?
in, we ask that you like and share the broadcast. Even if you're watching the replay, please like and share.
Hello, everybody. Minister Toya's computer logged her off some kind of way, and we are still rolling. So you all be in prayer because that's just saying that God, that the devil know that we're about to break some chains on tonight, and we're about to do some things that he does not want done, and we're about to speak on some things that he does not want spoken on. So we're gonna pray for Pastor Toya's computer. Pray for the network and the line that it just comes back on. But we can all go around as the panel. Minister Toya's computer logged her off some kind of way. And we can just go around as the panel and introduce each other, introduce what we do, how we met Pastor Toya, and everybody that's on the line that's in the room with us on today. Tell us if you are married, if you're single, if you're dating, if it's complicated, if you're entangled, you know, let us know what it is in the comments, and then share this video with somebody, like it, share it, and tag somebody in it who may have a question, who need a question answered, who afraid to answer a question, and maybe we on the line tonight and we able to answer a question. So I'll start off. I'm Tiffany. I go by Tiffany Sarita. Of course, I'm doing a rebranding, but I am married. My last name is Jones. I have been married for 22 years. I have 7 children, 5 grandchildren. I do a little bit of branding and coaching. I have a special education company. But overall, I'm excited to be here on tonight, and hopefully I have some nuggets to drop in here on tonight in the room. Darielle, can you go next?
Yes, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my name is Darielle Neely. I'm 23 years old, and I'm currently doing work in community development, and I'm a current graduate student as well at Union University. I met Reverend Toya through my church. She's a church member with me of Redemption Church, and I'm excited to be here again, being able to share what wisdom that I do have.
Pastor Dillard.
Salutations, everyone. Did you say Pastor Dillard? Salutations, everybody. My name is Lotarsha Lee Dillard. I am in ministry. I absolutely love God. I love His people. I love just working in the kingdom. I do work in the school system. I also do community outreach work. I'm an author of a self-published author of a book, Damaged Diva Now Defined, the expressions of a damaged diva. Working on my second book now. It's called Shut Up and Work. So I absolutely what I do. So what I bring to the table, I've been single, I've been damaged, I've been healed, delivered, set free of some things, and I'm married, and I'm imperfect and still struggle. So here's me, all of me, ready to answer your questions tonight. Pastor C is on you.
Hello, everybody. I know y'all know me, but I'm the pastor of Spirit of Christ, also known as One Worship. But I'm an entrepreneur, have a few businesses, one barbering, one cleaning service I just started. Also, proud father, single father in ministry. A little difficult in dating when you're single and pastoring, but I want to, enjoy this and shed some light to those in ministry that's dating outside of ministry and how to, bring it all together. And hopefully this would, you can share this tonight, like this tonight, comment tonight, like she said, as we're waiting on Pastor Toya to come on in like she coming on in. So y'all be prayerful, because every time, we try to do something for God, always distraction. So we thankful, and we ready to roll now. She here.
Hey y'all, I'm sorry. I don't know what went wrong. My computer did the same thing it did last time. I guess every time I'm trying to do something for God, it just, the devil just don't want it to happen. But this is some information that we want everybody to share. So I don't know what was said between, did you get the audience to put in what they did, Tiffany?
I did.
You did, okay. Did everybody introduce themselves?
We did.
We did, okay. Cool beans. All right, so I am Dr. Toya. For those that did not know, I am an intercessor, a director of intercessory prayer at my church, at Redemption Church, where my pastors are Pastor Sam and Devin Westbrook, or should I say Pastor David and Sam Westbrook. The best church on this side of Memphis. I know Courtney said he on that side of Memphis, so we just gonna roll with it, okay? So I am an author. I am a 6-year breast cancer survivor. I am CEO of Beautifully Flawed, and I am the creator of this dating game. So what I wanted to do with this dating game was to make sure that we talk you know, on all aspects of dating, dating in marriage, dating in ministry. That's why we have Pastor Courtney here as a representative of being single and pastoring, you know, and Minister Tasha Lee Dillard, she's here talking about marriage and ministry, you know, how you balance that out, and single and in the being a millennial, you know. And then we have Tiffany Sarita. She's off just everywhere. She's married. She has millennial as children, you know. She's one of my good friends. You know, we have kitchen conversation that's coming up next. But we have all kind of conversations. She's going to talk about the Rachel and Leah concept again, you know. But I'm very excited about this dating game part 2. And I hope everybody is engaging. Make sure that everybody put in their marital status or their complicated entanglement. You know, that's the new word now. Entanglement. It's complicated, single, married, divorced, and entanglement. So we're going to talk about this entanglement. I don't know if everybody has heard about, or I do know if everybody has heard about the Jada and Will and the August Alsina entanglement that she says she's in. So, you know, I don't know if, like I was talking about on my live, if anybody has been entangled, but I think everybody has had an entanglement in their life, whether you know it or not, whether you're willing to admit it or not. But, you know, Pastor Mike Todd always says that God cannot heal what you keep concealed. So as long as you're able to let it out and let people know that, yeah, I've been there, I've done that, I'm not perfect. And that's what this dating game is about. It's talking about just because we're Christians, just because we're walking with God, just because we say that we are of the cloth, that we don't, you know, have issues. We don't have flaws. We don't fall. We don't do that. So I don't understand how people in itself just make it seem like pastors don't fall. Ministers don't fall, prophets don't fall. You still are man. You still are. Even Jesus said, if you say you sin not, you will lie. So guess what? We all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. So we all have sinned. So I just want to come on. Let's see. I want to talk. I guess I'll let Tasha talk about this entanglement thing with Jada and Will and Alsina. What's your thoughts on it, Tasha?
Well, my take is, just like you said, we're all entangled in something. We've all been entangled, whether we want to admit to it or not. And so when at first, I really, I think I kind of missed it at first. And I started seeing everybody's post about Jada and Will. Then I started seeing the word entanglement in everything. And I'm like, okay, what happened? So I went to go see the video, the Red Talk video. I watched her first, with them first. And then I went to August Alsina's video where he interviewed with Angie. So I kind of got both versions from those 2 videos. And for me, I heard in Jada a hurting woman at one point who's married. And sometimes, I think I said it the last time, we can glamorize marriage to the point on social media where everybody sees the good, and then that's all people get into a marriage and think it's supposed to be. But marriage is work. It's a ministry, it's work. You have to get up and you have to do it every day. And at some point, somebody falls out of love, somebody falls back in love, and you still have to come back to that place and work together. So for me, I think that's kind of what it was. I think Jada and Will hit a rough spot. They decided they were going to, break up, but they wasn't going to divorce because it's cheaper to keep her. That's just my take. So they kind of went their separate ways. She ended up in a situation probably that she didn't think she would end up in 4 years later or whatever. Maybe she thought it was just going to be one of the cougar actions. She was going to, knock him off, send him on back his way, but they ended up getting feelings, and it turned into something that she couldn't get herself out of at one point, and he couldn't get himself out of emotionally. Then whoever called it out, Jada called it out, I guess. He ended up broke, but in his video, you can hear, in the interview, you can hear his pain. So me personally, I don't think it's him coming out just to promote just that album. I think he honestly came into a moment of enlightenment of his truth, that he never loved like that before, and this is how love feels for him. That's kind of like when I went through my domestic violence, I have my perception of the experience. Also, he has his perception of the experience and why he did what he did. But our stories probably that we tell aren't the same. But our experience is different. So a lot of us end up in situations that we never think. We just gonna play with it. We're gonna play with the fire. We don't think we're gonna get burned. We don't think of the consequences after. So relationships, marriage, we hit hard places sometimes. And I think they just, Will and Jada hit a hard place. And that's what this is from. Hit a hard place. She had an entanglement, but it was a whole relationship.
The whole relationship, not just an entanglement.
Not just a complicated piece, but it was a whole, whole relationship going on. So that's just my take on it for now.
Oh, okay. Tiffany, Sarita, what's your take on this? I've seen Jada and Will threesome.
Yeah, I have so much to say about this, but I don't have a lot. But like Minister Dillard said, marriage is glamorized on social media. Even when we go to church, marriage is glamorized. When we out in public, marriage glamorized. And of course, our private business is not the public's open door to come in and speak on what is private. And what is private is privacy is not secrecy, okay? And so what people have to learn about, but once you're cooked, then you have to deal with it. And so a statement had to be given. And I agree with Minister Dillard that August did not come out trying to promote an album, but he has a mini series, a mini docu-series talking about, his life and his pain and struggles. I think, like she said, Jada put it on him. And so the baby was whipped. He was about 21 when she first got with him. She was a real couple. And so he had never loved anybody like that. He had never been intimate with anybody on that level. The soul tie that they still have, that both of them are still working on, that they don't want to admit to, it's still right there. And so even though Will and Jada are in a space right now where they can talk about it, they, he said way before August came along that he was done with Jada, that he just didn't know that he was gonna make his way back to her. And so he had he just didn't have any feelings for her to come back to her. So at the end of the day, August thought she was gonna be his wife. He thought, we already playing the role. I'm gonna have some kind of life partnership with her since they redefining everything. And now we want to redefine an affair or a relationship and call it an entanglement. So, we have new words to the vocabulary for different things, but I think Jada owes us 30 more minutes on the Red Table Talk, and I'm gonna be quiet.
Yeah, she actually do. I think she needs 12 minutes was not enough for me just to peek inside that. And then that situation that they're made so public, although, I feel like even when she said that August came to her really, 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 really sick. So, and then he's 20 years, younger than her. Shouldn't she be the adult when she knew that he was really, really sick? To me, that's kind of taking advantage of the situation. You should have been a little bit more responsible, for that person's well-being, in his deliverance, in his healing. Even though she was more concerned with his healing, she should have made sure that was the line that we ain't gonna cross. You know what I'm saying? And just make sure that healing is her main objective. Pastor Courtney, because he looking, I want him to go ahead and comment on that. Do you got a comment on that?
I'm listening to y'all. Y'all get a political correct answers and all this stuff, and I hear y'all. But anyway, number one, Augustina, I don't know about this album, but it's the timing, and I can't judge the person, but you don't kiss and tell. That's number one. If you got a conversation you deal with, you talk to a counselor. You know what I'm saying? Because now they worked on their marriage. So now you put another head in their marriage now. And now if Jada was a man, she would be getting crucified all across the internet. You know what I'm saying? Instead of being in memes. If that was a man that took advantage of a young lady, perspective, man, they would be crucifying him and saying, man, he was he was manipulative. He was, he was wrong for that. Blah blah
Took
blah.
advantage of her, yeah.
She took him on a red carpet. Now, it's one thing to do something behind the scenes. It's another thing, even when you're going through separation, to bring it out front. Now, Will and them, they supposedly had an open marriage. We don't know. But at the end of the day, Will didn't bring nobody out front. We ain't got no evidence that Will had somebody out front. So at the end of the day, if they had been a man doing all that, man, they'd have been drugging through the mud. And even before this came up, we'd have been on it. But I think that, everybody talk about entanglement, and I hear seeing all these comments. I didn't make a comment because I don't have a dog in this fight one way or another. But you got people that's entangled right now with people, other husbands and wives now.
What you said, Pastor? Yeah.
And they making comments about Jada and Will, but they need to be at their own table. But I said that to say that what he did, whether it's promoting his album, what he wasn't promoting his album, I don't think it was a proper platform for him to come out to address. Now, you're going to address your situation, but to bring somebody else in the situation that's probably working on that situation or have worked it out, I think it was not helpful. Now, it may have been good in the long run because it helped them solve the issue. Because if you seen Will face, man, Will was hurt, and he was serious about what was going on, and Jada was trying to throw that entanglement out and go through it and not being honest. Now, there had been a man right there, and Will was and it was vice versa. Oh shoot, y'all know how y'all would have did, and how Jada was skipping through them questions and skating over them questions. Man, y'all would have been hitting them so hard. But
yeah, we would have been hitting them. We would have been hitting them.
It wouldn't have been no 12-minute round table. It'd have been an hour and 20 minutes. So anyway, y'all can have y'all entanglement, but now y'all went from toxic to entanglement. So we got a new word for 2020.
Yeah, we got a new word for 24. You are entangled, but people be entangled, like you said, all the time. People be entangled in them DMs. If we could see your DM, are you entangled?
Yeah, they entangled in churches now.
Yeah,
and married.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In the DM, that goes down in the DM. Ain't that what they say? It goes down in the DM. Oh, the wrong platform, ain't it? I'm sorry, yeah. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
All right, I got another question from my audience, so I want y'all to make sure. Have you dated yourself to know what you like before getting involved in any relationship? Y'all can answer that. My audience, have you dated yourself in order to know what you like before you get into a relationship? Do you know you? Do you know who you are? Do you know your love language? Do you know your deal breakers, your non-negotiables? Do you know that? All right, I got another question for my audience. Tiffany.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you dated yourself before you got? I know you've been married 20, how many years? 22 years. 22 years. So did you date yourself before you got married, or you just went ahead and got married?
Well, I think I was busy dating other people before I got married. Okay. And so
that wasn't a question. Did you date yourself?
Not a politically correct answer, Pastor.
Tiffany, are you still there? I think she got stuck. Pastor, have you dated yourself before you involved in any relationship?
I date myself all the time. You talking to me?
Yes, Pastor.
I'm still dating myself. You know what I'm talking about? I'm single. I date myself all the time. Every time I go walking, every time I go get something to eat. But I mean, you that's a broad question. So dating myself, when you say to me, I ain't trying to be funny, or long-winded, but when you talk about dating yourself, I enjoy being around myself. I enjoy myself, but I think they talking about a healthy place. When they talking about dating, so maybe that's what they talking about. Yeah, I enjoy my company of myself, but man, I'm 42 now, so man, that's over with. Listen, but I think that I had to learn this one thing I did do dating myself. I had to learn my love language.
Yeah,
I had to
absolutely.
learn what I was doing on the honesty part. I was putting my love language and loving them the way I want to be loved, instead of learning their love language and love them the way they should be loved because of their language.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be amazed. And actually, recently, if I even talk to people, even if it's just conversation or we even initiate, I'm finding out their love language because I need to know that. And a lot of people don't know their love languages.
Mm-hmm.
And most of them, that's the reason why relationships fail, because no, number one, they don't know how to love themselves and treat themselves, much less love somebody else. So yeah, I do and date myself. I do it every day. So
Yeah, well, that's a good thing. At least you know what you like. So, Bree, I'm gonna bring you on in here. I know you've been quiet over there in the corner, and you representing the millennials. So, have you dated yourself and to know what you like as far as what you want in the relationship? Do you know your deal breakers or your non-negotiables? Expound on that
Yes,
for me.
yes, I actually do date myself, even though I am currently dating.
Mhm.
So like I love to go be by myself. I enjoy my own company, as Pastor Courtney was saying. I do things like I take my own self out to eat. I buy my own self flowers, and I do these things to know, like, of course I don't need for someone else to do these for me in order for me to feel good about myself or validated or anything of that sort, but to know what I enjoy and what I do like, and in the midst of that, it also shows me things that I don't like, or if I'm out and I see certain things going down with other relationships and things of that sort, I kind of allow myself to I learn from observing a lot. And so I do that often when it comes to just dating in general. So I draw wisdom from that, but I also, of course, have my deal breakers as well. So yes, I date myself often. It's weird, when you go into a restaurant or something and you see this person like by themselves, but I've come to be comfortable with that. Be comfortable in me, be comfortable in enjoying my own company. So, I have someone now, but even though he's there, it doesn't make me feel complete. Like I need this person to make me feel complete, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. Makes sense. Okay. So that gives us a segue. We're gonna start with you tonight, Bree, on dating in the millennial age. Okay. So what you think constitute dating for your age specific group? What do y'all constitute as dating?
I feel like that it looks different for everybody. It varies based on their specific perspective of dating. But I believe, in my opinion, in its general sense, it's simply getting to know someone and who they are. You're getting to I look at it as if it's I look at it as a process of evaluation. So like you're evaluating their qualities and you're evaluating to see, like, do they have a solid character, and do you guys have chemistry? Like, do you enjoy being with them? Do you enjoy talking to them? And things of that sort. And so again, this can look different for everyone across the board, and it can play out in different ways. But I think in its general sense, it's getting to know someone and discerning whether or not this particular person is someone that you see that you can spend the rest of your life with. So it's a process of evaluation.
Okay. Okay. I got another question. I think I talked to Jada as well. Shout out to Jada. She did my makeup on tonight, y'all. That's my MUA. She did my makeup. Y'all reach out to her, you know what I'm saying? Oh, but anyway, but she had some questions of her own as being a millennial. She said that do you actually look at your parents as like a guide to your relationship, or are you evaluating, like, how do you want your relationship by looking at your parents' marriage? So do you that as well with your relationships? Or to
Um, in a way, I see, you know, in my parents and their marriage, some things that I would like for my marriage one day. But it also shows me things that, you know, I want to do differently, when it comes to, uh, one day when I'm married. And so I feel like, you know, when I look at my parents, I see them, you know, they love each other and, you know, they would do anything for each other and things of that sort. Like those are things and qualities that I look for in them. And I see, you know, the way my dad treats my mom, and, you know, vice versa. And so some of those things that I'll take with me into a relationship. But I also see, you know, things that like, okay, I'll do this differently. When it comes to like, okay, I see this form of communication may not be working the best. Okay, what can I do differently so that I, you know, don't have to experience this in my marriage one day. So I look at it again, as I was saying, and I observe, and from their experiences, I draw wisdom from that. So once I become married, I can know like, okay, this was the outcome of this specific uh, circumstance with this with my parents. And so because I've seen this and because I've seen the way this played out, I can know now how I can go about doing it differently. So yes, I take some things from my parents when it comes to my one day marriage, but I also take that as well to see what I can do differently.
That's really good. Yeah. Because I know I look at other people's marriages and, you know, and I not used to gauging how I would want my marriage to be. You know, I guess that's just simply human nature, you know, to look at somebody's marriage, be like, yeah, I want to do that. But we have to know what works in our relationship and what works in their relationship may not work in your relationship. So you have to figure out what works in your relationship, in your marriage. Because sometimes if you bring stuff in from somebody else into your marriage or into your relationship, can cause friction in that relationship or that marriage, because that spouse might not actually agree with that. You know, you understand what I'm saying? So also with the millennials, got a question. How do you, let's see, how can I say this? Because most of the time people are, when we could say, how are you unequally yoked? You know, just say you're dating somebody and you are trying to be celibate. But this person over here that you're dating actually is placing a more emphasis on actually and pushing you to have sex. How would you actually deal with that person?
That's a non-negotiable for me. I would simply not go further. I mean, that's just me. If you know that this is something that I value, right? Because I will be vocal about that up front. Like I desire to wait into marriage to have sex. If this is not something that you want, then okay. Like that for me, I cut it there. I don't engage in it any further, because then I would be lowering my standards and settling on what I believe, my values and what I hold true to. So if this is somebody who's for me and someone that you know, I can potentially spend the rest of my life with, I know that they will value my choice and not engaging in sexual activity until I become married. So
Really good. That's good. Okay. Tasha, we're gonna move on to Tasha and let her talk. We're gonna go into ministry and marriage. Tasha, unmute yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
I know a lot of people probably didn't hear your testimony on the Dating Game 1. So can you give us a brief synopsis of your testimony about how you got into being in ministry and in marriage?
Okay. So my testimony is extremely broad. I've been through domestic violence, rape, and domestic violence, molestation, rape, abuse. So that's kind of my journey in life. So being out in the streets, just being promiscuous, but being in church all of my life, but not really having a real relationship with God. So after I went through domestic violence, abuse, rape situation, I had to go and find Tasha. I lost myself in all the midst of the trauma, all the midst of the hurt, the pain, the rejection, abandonment issues, daddy issues, mama issues. I was a single mother while going through all of this, so it led me to alcohol, drugs, the club, just altogether wild life. So to go from that extreme, I had to spend almost 10 years trying to find Tasha. In those 10 years, I dated, but it was like I knew the warning signs. I paid attention to all of the warning signs coming from unhealthy. Well, all of my relationships basically in the past were unhealthy. So I had to really unlearn a lot of things about what I deemed as acceptable in dating while dating. So I know when you were talking to Daria, you were talking about dating. One of the things in dating I had to remember, because you know they make us feel bad sometimes in the church when you're single or a part of the singles ministry, and if you start dating, Lord forbid, first thing they want to talk about is marriage. You got to be married. It's like they rush you to get married. But for me, I feel like my advice to those that's dating, you need to know what you want. You need to know what you don't want. You need to know what those deal breakers are. You need to know what's healthy, what's unhealthy. And dating means you're getting to know people. So you need to be able to go on several dates to decide if this guy is for you or if this woman is for you. So if somebody see you with, you know, and I'm not saying sleep with every guy, sleep with every woman, but dating simply means going out to eat, going to the movies, going to the parks, all of those things I started doing for myself first. I had to get to know me first. So I started doing all of those things. And one of the things I realized was I didn't know my worth. I didn't have self-love. I didn't appreciate that self-time because I wore so many titles for everybody else. I didn't really know how to just take time for just Tasha. And so that was a journey of self-discovery. So once I actually went through that self-discovery phase, and I learned and I healed, and you know I was in my word and I was fasting, I was praying, and I had a village of people who held me accountable. So that was the key for me to shift and transition and to be able to know what I really wanted in a marriage. And so when I got into my marriage with my husband and I, we didn't do the traditional thing, so we ended up shacking, as they call it. And once we started shacking, as far as ministry was concerned, it was a burden to me because I was like, my witness would be in vain, like, because I'm shacking. So I don't try to paint that picture like, you know, I'm this perfect, you know, churchgoer, perfect preacher. No, I'm a person with issues, and that's where my ministry lies, and where God has called me to, is to help people who are going through those things understand you're gonna fall, you're gonna make mistakes, but it's about getting back up and knowing where you stand with your relationship with God. People will hurt us, people will keep us in bondage, but we have to honestly have that secure team that love us, and you know, you can take rebuke, you can take, you know, exhortation from them, you can take it all from your village, and they'll help you stay clear. So when you get married, you still have that same kind of village to help you and hold you accountable, so that you know you're taking your vows seriously, and it won't be a walk in the park every day in the marriage. So my husband and I decided, well, he made the decision that we wasn't gonna have sex anymore, because that was the thing that would keep me from being able to get up and preach if I had sex. And I'm like, I can't preach because my hand's dirty. And that's how I felt. And so when he took that from me, of saying we can't have sex, and so once we did that, then we got married, and it'll be 4 years on the 31st of this month, and we've been married 7 years.
Well, congratulations. Yeah. So I got a question for you. So I know earlier in what you were saying, you saying that we need to date, right? So why do you think it's frowned upon when a woman date multiple men in order to see if that man is, or those men are the one that she actually wants to, you know, settle down and be in a relationship? Why is it frowned upon when a woman does that, but if a man does it, It seemed like it's more acceptable.
And I think that's a traditional teaching. You know, our traditional mindset, the traditional teachings are, you know, we're really just seem to be in the house. You know, basically, you know how they used to pick your husband back in the day. You know, that was a tradition, you know, over years ago. You know, but then the traditions kind of change along the way. So with times changing, we can transform and change our mindsets as we view dating. And I think that's why dialogue like this is so necessary, because we get so judgmental if you see somebody out eating. If Pastor Courtney and I went out to eat today, oh my God, the people who saw us would be like, I saw Pastor Courtney and Tasha, and he's single, she married, and the assumption and the perception of them would be we're out dating versus he and I could be the best of friends, and we're just sitting having a conversation talking about something. So we you know, in the church we have to take the stigma away from dating and what dating looks like. You know, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying, and character is key, you know, and, you know, character is key. If you know the character of a person, then you would know that now she or he wouldn't be doing that. But if we see somebody out dating, it should be okay with them being out on a date, getting to know somebody, understanding what their values are, understanding what goals they have in life, what career, how their credit looks, how money management is, like all of the things that be that one reason why you can go from something simple while dating, and it be that one thing that you ready to go out the door and ready to stop for a divorce. If you don't deal with that in the beginning and get to know them during the dating phase, then you won't know when those, you know, red flags come into marriage, because you didn't really get to know that person. You just rushed into the I want to be on social media taking pictures and looking, relationship goals, marriage goals.
Yeah. Profile, you want to change your status to married and all that. That really don't mean nothing, do it?
No. Like take it seriously. If that's something that you desire and something that you want, you have to be satisfied while you're single. If you gotta be satisfied. You gotta be honest, satisfied with your life, satisfied with God where you are, before you can actually shift into and become somebody's spouse. I'm the first to say, if people know me, I absolutely hated to cook. I hated it. You know, I always said, now growing up, I had role models like Pastor Tapper and Eureka Truvine. Him and Regina were like my godparents, and they had, to me, like this the perfect kind of marriage. I didn't assume that they didn't have problems, but the way that they carried themselves and loved on the youth and loved on the church and all that, they were like my role model, but I didn't want to be exactly like them. So then I had Bishop Willis and Pastor Linda. I absolutely love them. So Pastor Linda will always keep it real with us and tell us about the lingerie, getting, you know, you're the same person, but when you get in that bedroom with your husband, you're gonna be you got to have a little freaky side. You can't be listening to Amazing Grace.
The cook in the kitchen, the lady in the... I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. But
okay, you see, I was gonna go back.
So like, to me, you have to know when how to put it on. You know, like the hair. I put on the blonde wig. You got 14, 15 girls, and be able to transform and be who he needs me to be.
That's right. Be his nurse.
He's gonna be out looking for somebody, or I'm going to be out looking for somebody if I'm not satisfied with what I married or who I married, or if I didn't allow things to be shown in the beginning. Then later on, like I said, you'll be hitting that word divorce, and that's why our divorce rate is so high. With Christians is because we rush to say, go get married, go get married, go get married. And I know the word says it's better to marry than to burn. I understand it. And we have to deal with truth. Truth is, single folks still have sex. You know, there's a book, Single Save, and I'm still having sex. You know, that's the truth. But how do we teach people how to refrain from having sex and keep themselves and understand their worth before they just lay down with everybody while they're dating? That's the topic. Those are the topics that we need to talk about in singles ministry. You know, and realistically approach it like, I'm having a moment. I want some tonight. How can I keep myself? How do I keep myself? I'm just saying. You know, those are the topics that need to be discussed.
They sure do.
And then it's like, if you go out and have sex, like, don't beat yourself up to the point where you can't pick yourself back up.
Back up. That's right.
You know what I'm saying? But if you go to somebody in the church, and I'm not beating up everybody's church, because everybody's church is not like this, but it's just, if you have the traditional mindset and traditional leaders, then you don't have that room where you feel safe to come and say, I fell down.
Mm-hmm.
But am I going to be abused, talked about, pushed aside, persecuted, and neglected if I come and say, I'm having sex? How do I keep myself? How do I refrain from having sex? Because I really do want to please God, and I really do want my husband, or I really do want my wife. Like, how, that's what we need to be teaching, having those conversations, because other than that, you'll rush into marriage and you'll be like, oh, it's better to marry than to burn, so let me go get a husband. And then you don't know nothing about this husband.
But it's also, if you marry the wrong person, you still gonna get burned.
Oh, baby, come on here, let's talk about that.
Hello?
Huh?
What you said?
You got that right one. And I say that because my husband and I are like night and day. But it's balance in it. But at the same time, I'm saying, well, did I see this when we were dating? Did I know this about him? And so it's like, okay, well, I did know that. So this is who he is. And when you talk about the 5 love languages, I used to expect for him to show me the same kind of love. And I still do sometimes. That's been my weakness. It's like, I'm this kind of person, and this is what I want. And I want you to do this for me. But this is how I show my love. That's not how he communicates his love.
That's right.
We have to learn through the process, and it doesn't feel good sometimes when you learn it.
And sometimes we have to know, because we have different love languages. Like, my love language is I do things, that's what I do. So that's how I show you that I love you, because I'm doing stuff. Because if I don't love you, I'm definitely not gonna do stuff for you. So but a person that I'm dating, his love language is affection and all that. I'm not an affectionate person. I'm really nonchalant. You could take my nonchalant as, oh, she don't even care, but I really do, because I'm showing my love language in this, even though his is, touching, feeling it. I said, but that's not my love language. Right. But what you have to do, you have to accept that person's love language. If he like to feel, he like to touch, he like to show affection, was a PDA, public affection. If he likes that you have to, did I say that right? You have to embrace that. You can't just, turn them down, because if you turn them down, that's turning his love language down, right? But see, he have to understand my love language is this, and I don't do that. I'm not gonna be all up on you, rubbing your back, rubbing your head. I might do that, but not at that time. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a time that I do it. The pastor, don't do that. It's gonna be a time that you do it, and it's gonna be a time that because that's not my my love language. You have to know that. Right. But, right? Okay. So it looked like Pastor want to say something. I just want to, see if he want to say something. He looked like he been rocking back and forth. So I'm gonna let him go ahead and say something about this love language. Pastor, you want to say something about that?
No, it just, I think that, one, y'all was saying things true, and dating is a compromise. I love everything they said, even with, I wish I had the mindset like Bree had, not having sex before marriage. It cost me saving a lot of money, pain, and frustration. I'm actually frustrated now about dating. So,
but why? Why are you frustrated about
dating?
Because
I don't think women really understand the concept. When you need to, number one, women need to heal before they try to date. That's number one. And men.
Okay. Yeah.
Because men need to heal too. But I'm talking from a perspective, from a man perspective, because I can't talk with y'all. But because you got guys that will go out of the way, and with me, I ain't been let me say this. Let me give my disclaimer. I ain't been a good guy all my life. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you're gonna get some type of karma back. You're gonna have to take some of these pills, and you done dished out and seeds. But then there come a time that when you mature, like me as a pastor, I gotta work double hard to prove my love. Like the man said on the Fire Heartbeat, every night I got to prove my love. Every night. Hey, and it's because you do things and you shouldn't have to come to remind people, hey, I do this, but you should see this. And or this kind of guy I am. You got to run down your resume of this type of guy. And then I want somebody on the same level. You need to be working on your health, your wealth, your mental, your emotional. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get healthy. Excuse me, y'all. Don't take the wrong way. I'm trying to work on myself physically. So I don't want a woman that's not going to be unhealthy. And then we get together. She got high blood pressure. She got sugar. She talking about, baby, you supposed to love me, death do our part. Baby, you about to die in a few days. You know what I'm saying? Work on yourself. Then you broke. You ain't got, you know what I'm saying? You don't save no money. I ain't never seen a bunch of successful women that don't have anything saved. You see what I'm saying? And I've seen it. I ain't talking about no women that make no little money. But we have to have some money, not everything, but we need to be able to work together. And if I'm giving you your love language, and back to it, you need to give me my love language. I'm gonna tell you what mine is. Mine is words of affirmation. If you ain't, you can encourage me. You can make me feel like I can move the mountain. You can get anything from me. I'm talking about, you tell, you preach that sermon. I'm encouraging you. Gonna make it. You doing a great job. Man, that's good. Then quality time. Spend some time with me. I don't care if we on the phone like this. Long as you're in my presence, I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? And then physical touch in that order. I'm a touch and feel a guy, but in the day is, I know what it leads to, so I isolate myself. So if I touch and feel it, I go look off. You know what I'm saying?
Is that where them liquid leggings come in? That what that is? That what them liquid leggings come in?
Yeah,
okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, yeah. So now, and now I'm having to reset myself. And like I said, I'm hurt because of some past decisions I made, frustrated while because of dating. You know what I'm saying? Because I let some good women go because of my selfishness, because I wanted more on my plate and I wanted my appetizer, my dessert. And it just one women is just that I have never seen real love. I ain't never seen real love. I never knew what real love looked like. My daddy wasn't married. My mama wasn't married. I never been in a healthy environment where I seen somebody without cheating or they going through something. And it hurt me because I always had to, I was scared to love. Even right now, you got points where I'm scared to give myself all to a person because I feel like you're gonna hurt me, or I'm gonna lose that, or you're not gonna handle me the right way. And I'm a man, you know what I'm saying? Because I want to be loved the right way. I don't want to cheat on my wife. The reason why I didn't get married, I feel like this. If I'm gonna act single, if I'm gonna act like Jada, yeah.
Don't forget Will now. Will did his own dirt. She said it.
She
said it though. Don't leave Will out now. Will said Jada said Will did it.
Listen, until it's proven in the court of law, we ain't seen Will. It's all speculation. I'm gonna tell you right now. So listen, guess what? Because there's some women out here that cheat better than men. Hello, somebody. We ain't gonna go there. But anyway, yeah. And the men never, and we so slow, we'll never catch it sometimes. But anyway, but the thing is, I'm trying. I want that love that's last. I want to cheat on my wife. You know what I'm saying? I got customers at the barber shop, and they talking about, man, you're gonna get tired of eating chicken every day. There's only so many ways you can eat chicken. Chicken a la king, fried chicken, deep fried chicken. I said, well, tell you what, that chicken is cheaper to keep. and if I find some more ways to fillet that chicken later, but at the end of the day, it's men out here that's of value on this policy, but women sometimes overlook it, or the ones that come don't have their stuff together. You see what I'm saying? Like, I've had women come at me, and that's cool. I mean, it's okay. I ain't knocking you shooting a shot. But when you come to me, make sure you got your make sure you got your team in order. You know what I'm saying? When you shoot your shot, don't make sure you come with a deflated ball. Make sure your ball got some air in it. You know what I'm saying? Because I need a teammate. It's hard, and I'm gonna say this: it's hard as a pal. My church probably don't even understand. They probably on here don't even understand I got help, but I don't have help in the right places. See what I'm saying? And you can have help. You can have the person that you date, they could be help, but they're not help in the right place for you, so they won't fit you. So, even with dating, you need people in the right place to help you in the right way. Because if y'all strong in the same area, ain't what you need it for, because you're already strong in the area. But so anyway, like I said, this dating with passion is a little different because I think women, y'all get approached a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? Men shoot their shot. They could be married, they could be single, they could be gay, and they could be bisexual. They shoot, I'm just telling y'all the truth, they shoot their shot all across the basketball court. Well, it's the truth though. And I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna give you back the floor. I'm gonna do this called Sex in the Sanctuary. Because that's something that people don't talk about because it's so secretive. Like she was saying, with dating in church, everybody wants you to run to get married. And then people ain't ready to get married. So they find themselves in a secret place in a bad situation, having sex, and then they have kids. And the women, the one that gets shunned because they come up pregnant and the man out of sight, out of mind most times. You almost got to find out who the baby daddy is because the woman too much ain't going to tell because they may be prominent or they may be musicians or they may be somebody that know and they don't want their business out. So dating and ministry is a little different, and it can be frustrating. It can be. And let me say this: I can count on my hand how many times have I dated a woman, and she really wanted to get to know me. Like, hey, what are your inner thoughts? Let me pray for you. I had one lady ask to pray for me. She said, "Why I gotta pray for you out loud? I could just pray for you in my private time." So I didn't, they're ended. There was a test. So, how many times people say, "Hey, you got to do preaching today. Let me just call and, hey, let me just send a quick prayer for you." You know what I'm saying? Because I sometimes I'm emotional after I get done preaching, and I need somebody to build me up. And you want to get to me. Yeah. So you practice what you preach. Anyway, I'm going on because
Well, you did real good. You was doing real good. You actually answered most of my questions.
and that's the thing, though. And I'm only saying this because my heart is hurting for men in my position that's single. Because, you already got, first thing women say, "I don't want to be no first lady." Man, that's cool, but I could lose the church tomorrow. I ain't looking for a first lady. I'm looking for somebody that's going to be my lifetime partner, my mate.
That's
I
right.
ain't talking about the Will and Jada junk. The real lifetime partner with the ring on it. So, I aspire to be married, but I want to be married to the right person that we can enjoy. If I lost the church tomorrow, we can enjoy, go to beaches, and she can have a thong on, and I can have my 6-pack on. Listen, whatever, 6-pack on. And we going on. I ain't got it yet. I ain't got 1-pack, but listen.
Did you say thong?
Yeah. Hallelujah. Thank you, God.
In the house.
So listen, let me tell you something. If you don't settle, like she said, I like what Bree said, you can't settle. You can't settle. Because if you settle in this season, and what happens is you're gonna be frustrated and you're gonna be entangled, as y'all want to say. You know what I'm saying? So and to keep from being entangled and coming, making sure that you get what you want, you're not gonna get everything. But if you want a woman that's sexy, that like to dress sometimes, or a man they got a little swag and smell good and take care of himself, man, you better get it and make sure he got everything together. And most of all, make sure you got God. If I was a woman in this time, especially what's going on in the world now, I would want a godly man. That's what I'm be running to it. Not talking about I don't want no godly man or a godly woman, because at the end of the day, it's already hard now in the world. You know what I'm saying? So, it ain't got to be no preacher. You just want somebody that really love God. And if I can adapt some new principles, I can go all the way back, I would do it the way God told me to do it. And that was, because once you have a taste of sex, it's a wrap. I'm going to tell you right now, it's a wrap. And I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to move on. Ray Charles had a movie, and he was shooting them drugs up. He had heroin all up his veins. And he said, and the man said, "Ray, ain't nothing better than this." He said, "This better than sex." Ray said, "Ain't nothing better than sex." So y'all move on. That's what he said. And he was on drugs. So I'm
Mhm.
just telling y'all. So once you get that, it's only take the Holy Spirit to keep you from this point on. Once you had it,
Mhm. So it's a new trend going out too, Pastor, about women proposing to men. So what's your take on that?
well, she better not propose to me nowadays the rest of her life. And
Amen.
I don't think I'm still traditional, and that's something I want to do. I think about it every day how I can do it, but they do it so much now. I'm running out of ideas. I'm about to jump off a plane. But but no, I'm still traditional, dude. People call me a little hood, but at the end of the day, I still want to get on one knee. I want to pop that thing out of me. I want to see it like I got this from the top of Mount Everest.
Mm.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I want her to be surprised because I think it's sacred. Because the Bible says, he who finds a wife, obtain the favor. So I need to get on my knee and make sure she understands that, baby, I'm taking the lead, because the woman get on her knee, she taking the lead.
That's right.
And guess what? If she get on her knee, she gonna always be on her knees. That'll preach.
Got to preach right there. All right then, Pastor. Preach then. Another question, Pastor. When is it okay to introduce the one you are dating to your congregation?
When we is engaged.
We guys, so if you're dating, it's not good for you to bring, no?
Because what if it don't last? Now, she can come and visit, periodically, make spot check here and there, because I need to see how she worships.
Mhm.
But just coming over and introduce, hey, this is now. Because I feel like that with me being a single pastor, even though no one probably, I don't know, I'm just saying, no one likes me like that in my church, and hopefully they don't. If they do, their feelings gonna get hurt. But at the end of the day, because I don't eat, I can't feed you and eat you. You know what I'm saying? That's what people do. I'm the shepherd. I don't eat my sheep. I feed my sheep. You know what I'm saying? So now, if God tell me something different, that's on him. But when it comes to dating, I think it's better to be exclusively. Not now. She said something. Not now. I had to learn this. Not secret, but private. See what I'm saying? It's a difference. I had to learn it because I was probably some more secret than private, because but I was scared what people may say sometimes, and I didn't know if it's gonna last. My church is my sacred place. So if you come there, that's like you meet my church. You'll meet my church like my mom. In other words, you probably meet my mama first before you meet my church. I'm just being honest, because that's my sacred place. That's what, man. That's just my heart. That's my passion. I think that when I introduce somebody to the church, it needs to be the right time. And once we get married, hey, they'll find out on Facebook.
Okay. So I got another question, because I think I had this question before. Do you think that you should date, do you think you should date somebody that you can pray with and read the Bible with, or should that should not be a necessity? In our
I'm listening.
I was just saying, especially in our profession, since we are in ministry, do we just necessarily need somebody that we could actually pray with, and they could pray? I know you did say that they can pray for you, and we can read the Bible together, and learn the scriptures together and give revelation.
That should be automatic. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's like reading a book together. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about just any kind of love book or kind of series or novel. I mean, y'all should be as one anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, baby, let's pray today. Let's fast this week, or let's read the Bible. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this should be something natural. It shouldn't be something that has to be a mandate on a person, or something we got to talk about. Because I feel like that, when you naturally bonded, you know what I'm saying? Man, y'all gonna enjoy doing stuff together anyway. And even if you don't like compromising, sometimes even, I'm just saying this, even if you don't like doing something, you'll do it anyway because you love that person. You know what I'm saying? And they enjoy it, so you enjoy it because they enjoy it, and you learn to love them in a way they want to be loved. So, but I think it's important to have those values, which I don't know if people have now, but I think it's good to have those values that, you can read and pray together. I think there should be something anyway. I ain't married nobody. I can't pray with no way. We can't get on our knees together. We sure enough can't stand up together.
That's right. That's right. That's it right there. I like that, Pastor. Absolutely. All right, Pastor, I'm gonna let you rest for a second. Get your throat together. Now we're gonna come to Tiffany Sarita. Come on, friend. Unmute yourself, baby.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right. Hey, Tiff.
Hey.
So the last time you talked about the Rachel and Leah concept, right?
Mhm.
So can you, for the people that did not join us last time, can you tell them about the Rachel and Leah concept in a synopsis type thing, not the long drawn out kitchen conversation?
Okay, no kitchen conversation.
No
Okay.
kitchen conversation. That's coming up next.
With Rachel and Leah, they were two, of course, if anybody has read the Bible, they know they were two sisters who married the same man. But if we look in today's society, we have women that are like sisters that deal with the same man. And so you have people out here that sharing partners, they are entangled or whatever. And so you have Rachel and Leah, one was beautiful, the other was Rachel was beautiful. And so Jacob wanted to marry her. He saw her in the field. He served 7 years for her. He served 7 more years for her. And for me, I think it was a physical thing. But the sister was overlooked. And in that custom, you could not marry. The younger siblings could not marry before the older siblings were married. It was out of the custom. And so the father, who was cunning in himself, tricked Jacob the same way Jacob did Esau. Is a family cycle. And so he had to marry Leah in order to get Rachel. And so you had sisters who were comparing themselves. So you have women right now who are comparing themselves. You have people that don't think that they're good enough for the man that they have, but all along they had some daddy issues. And then one has always sacrificed for the other. And so Rachel knew that her sister had to take her spot in order for her to come up. And so, of course, I have a book come out, and you learning to come second, learning to be in second place to come first. And so you have to know that even though Rachel was in a position that she was in, she had to learn how to be second in order to walk the line that she needed to walk. And I think a lot of women have to be able to sit up under the feet of people that they don't want to sit up under in order for them to grow and in order for them to learn. And you have to know that your turn will come and this may not be your season. And so it's a lot of nuggets within people learning from Leah and Rachel, but they were both side chicks, and neither one of them were really the main chick, because Jacob had the best of both worlds. And so they were more entangled than he was, because he still had concubines, and they were giving, their concubines and their maid service and everybody to him in order to satisfy him, because he had a sex addiction. And so, he was able to have his cravings filled by whoever came along. And those women were willing to compromise their integrity in order to remain in the place and in the seat that they thought they had, for him to recognize who they were.
Okay. So you think they were side chicks, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. That was the first side. Now, who was the first side chick? Hagar was the first side chick, right?
Hagar.
Hagar was the first side chick. That's the one that Sarah brought to Abraham, right?
Absolutely. But Sarah, she questioned God, and she didn't believe what God told her. And she gave away. She had to learn how to go to another woman and say, hey, I made a mistake, but I'm going to help you along with this mistake, even though Hagar had to come back and sit up under her feet and still work for her and learn her place and her role. And so therefore we have stepmommy and something that you created as a woman. And so when you create a situation, how do you walk away from something that you created? And how do you get mad at something that you created? When you opened the door to it, you created it. And so you cannot get mad when that man's appetite is as big as his appetite is because he's only gonna eat what you put on his plate.
Mm. He only gonna eat what you put on his plate, huh? He ain't gonna eat nothing else.
He, you know, some men have appetites for different things, but when that's your man and you open the door for something that was outside of you all, you open the door for him to have his main course and his side course at the same time.
So we talking about side chicks. Do side dudes? You think side dudes exist?
I absolutely think side guys exist. August Alsina is one of them. And I think he broke the guy code, and that's why everybody needs to have an NDA in place. And so therefore, you can't date without an NDA. You can't speak on anything. And by the time you get ready to speak on something, when that NDA expires, I would have been branded and rebranded. And so what you're talking about will be irrelevant. Don't try to validate yourself off of something that we had a long time ago. That's a wrap.
All right. So you just threw me all off. But look, I got a question though.
Ma'am.
Side dudes, you know, that a lot of people think the side dudes don't really exist, right? So side dudes to me are more prominent. They know their place better than the side chick though, right?
They do. And of course, I want everybody who does not know my story to go back and watch part 1. So going into part 2 to answer the question, side guys know how to keep their mouths closed because they are seasoned for the season that they're in. They know how to keep their mouth closed. They know what appetite you have and what appetite they have. They know if this is physical or if this is monetary or if this is, you know, if I can stroke your ego emotionally, you know, if you are good at what you do, you could definitely have your cake and eat it too. You can definitely do both of those things. And I think side guys really exist because a lot of men, they're looking for a great woman, but they're willing to compromise who they are and settle for second place, not knowing that even though we are the favor, you have to be able to walk and be honorable as a man in order for you to find your favor. And when you're not walking as a man in the honor that you have and you compromising your character, you never gonna find your favor. And so that's why I think a lot of men walk in the place of second place, even though they think, hey, I'm a player, you know, or, you know, I got all the women, not knowing that you don't really understand who you are as a man. And I think that comes from a lot of daddy issues. And we have a lot of broken homes, and we have a lot of women that are leaders in their homes. And so you have these men who get out here and who are mama's boys looking for their mama in a woman. And those are the ones that come up as the side dudes.
Yes. I think that men have mommy issues just like women have daddy issues. I do, simply because we have a lot of men that are absent from the sons. You know, so women are raising sons. You know, I had a question. I was on a forum a couple of weeks ago, and I asked, can a woman really raise a boy, you know, a son, if the man is not really around? But we do the best way we can, right? So that's the reason why some of these men are mama's boys, right?
Well, look, I have 3 sons. Each one of my sons are definitely different. But my first son, myself and my husband, we were not living in the same house. So when I potty trained him and he knew how to sit down, okay? When he would go over to my boyfriend's house at that time, which is my husband now, when he was like, I said, hey, he potty trained. He said, okay. When he saw the way he went to the bathroom, he called me and he was like, what is this? I said, well, I don't want to scar him for life. I don't know how to stand up and do what you do. I cannot stand in your place. Even though he was a really active father, we did not live together. And so I cannot stand in the place of that man in order for my son to mimic who he needs to see and who he needs to become. And so he had to go back, even though he was potty trained, he had to unlearn some things that I taught him and learn some things that his father taught him that should have been in place from day one. But because we were not in position to do what we needed to do at the time, my son was just a casualty of us learning and him having to unlearn some things in the process so he can become who he is now.
Okay, I got a question, a marriage question, okay? That we had, as a married couple, when disagreeing with your spouse, do you correct him or her in front of people, or do you wait until you get to the comfort of your own home to discuss?
The early stages of Tiffany would correct him right now, today, in public. You know, and
Pastor Courtney.
hold on, the early Tiffany, okay?
The early married Tiffany.
Lord, the early Tiffany would have. And so I had to learn in those ways. And I had to learn his language of communication. And he will shut down with confrontation. He won't answer a question. That's not his MO. He'll walk away from some things which will really make me mad. But knowing now that younger Tiffany should have been able to have the wisdom that I have right now. I had my mom and my dad who was married in the house. This is the way they handle conflict. But yet again, my mom was his side chick for 19 years before he married her. And so I could not, the way that they communicated and the way my dad communicated with my stepsisters, mom and dad, moms, I saw all of this. And so this is the way I perceived that it should have been handled. But right now, if I don't want it public and I want us to be able to handle it in the privacy of our own home and it not to be all over the front page, of course, we're going to handle it behind closed doors.
Mm-hmm.
And even though we're going to handle it behind closed doors, if we need to walk into a counselor or we need somebody to mediate, right now we know that we have to have a checkup from the neck up, as I call it. And so if you don't think it, you won't say it. And so, or if you do think it, try to hold off on what you're going to say and really think about what you're going to say, because you're going to have to go back and apologize. And so the apology sometimes is harder to do than the argument itself. And so you need somebody to have a little bit of marriage maintenance in the middle and somebody who can be able to check both of you all without bias, because sometimes you are still going to bump heads, but you need to be able to come to more than a happy medium between the both of you, because you do have to be able to lay down with each other and wake up with each other. And you want to be able to have conversations without confrontation the next day that you had from the previous day.
Okay. Now I'm going to Q&A, y'all. So all y'all can unmute if y'all want to answer these questions. So I got a question. So I know all of us have seen the Steve Harvey movie. Was it Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man, whatever it is, right? So the 90-day rule, right? Do y'all really think the 90-day rule really applies or is done?
I think after the movie, after the book came out, I think a lot of women were trying it. I mean, a lot of people were trying it, but it's like if you do have this rule, this just me. If you have this rule in place, then I posted a question the other day. If you have the 90-day rule in place as a woman saying you're not going to give him any sex for 90 days, what if he puts in place for 90 days he's not going to spend any money on you? So if you have that rule and he has this rule, how do the two of you get to honestly get to know what you really mean? Let's put your standards in place. You put it in place. Hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm not having sex right now. I am celibate right now, and this is true and dear to me in my relationship with God. And if you can't handle that, then that's a deal breaker. I think that's the conversation that needs to take place. Women might have that in place, but most times they just say that, and then they go on a date, get their food, get something to drink, and they'll go back to the place, and then you Netflix and chilling, and then now you done had sex, and now you done broke your own 90-day rule, and he moving on to the next one, and you at home crying a week later talking about, I don't understand why I keep attracting these kind of guys. Because that's what you give it out. Go ahead, Pastor.
It's the 90 day
Now,
rule. Hold on, Pastor Courtney. If I know you about to eat this question live. I think any woman, Steve Harvey wrong for letting that book out, number one. Secondly, if you allow yourself as a woman to be set up to be put on a 90-day rule path, most people are not committed to themselves for 90 days in any shape, way, shape, form, or fashion. And so you're going to say in 90 days, this going to lead up to our big finale. We're going to have our prom, after the prom moment in 90 days. And so why didn't you set up a real courtship within those 90 days? Because I am just under the persuasion that in 90 days, you can get to know a person, get to know background, you can date each other, you can get to know a parent if you need to get to know the parents, you can get to know if they're traditional, how their church life rolls, everything, what they like, what they don't like. Then on your 90th day, you should say, you know what, we're going to take this to another 90 days. We're going to elevate this thing. And so our elevation going to go into another level of courtship that did not involve sex and heavy petting.
you trying to get married, ain't
That should be the ultimate goal. Every 90 days, we're going to reevaluate where we are. And sex does not have to be on the platter.
All right, friend. You see why she's my friend? That's my friend. Yeah, Bree, come on.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like that's something that, in my opinion, should be talked about in the beginning. For me personally, that's a non-negotiable. I don't see myself, this 90-day thing. Like, I'm waiting till I get married, and that's, a standard that I hold for myself. So it's not a, do these things and withhold for 90 days, and then at the end of my 90 days, okay, I know what's coming up next. Like, no, like, personally, that's just, in my opinion, something that I do not want to budge on, and that's something that I hold. And if you're not my husband, then
it's a wrap, huh?
I mean,
That's right.
so
Cut it
that's
out. Cut it.
Wait, no,
Who sung that, Bree? Cut it. Cut it. Who's? I know they weren't talking about that, but who's it? Lil Doubt, Lil Doe, Lil whoever he is.
Oh,
You got to cut it. No,
That's him. You got to cut it. That's it. Who is that? Lil Doe.
But listen, y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all something. That 90-day rule really ain't nothing. Cause I'm gonna be honest. Now this the old path. Don't judge me like. But listen, if you listen, you making me wait 90 days or 90 years ain't gonna matter. I've waited out 5 years to sleep with a woman. I'm telling you, so 90 days ain't gonna make me no better. Cause if I like you, I'm just from a worldly perspective. Because we're not talking, we talk because he wrote the book from a worldly perspective, not a Christian perspective. Let me plug that in right quick. So we talking about word perspective. So that 90-day rule now is good for if you're trying to, like you said, get to know people, and she put another 90 days on them and all this stuff. So, but I always tell women in the beginning, even if you're not celibate, celibate, what y'all want to call it, tell them anyway, so you can weed through a whole lot of men anyway. Because once you tell one man, say, hey, I ain't having sex, and tell them I ain't, and some of y'all, they can lie. I know they ain't telling the truth, but no, I know some men, like, you got people like me that know the game. You know what I'm saying? I know I can sniff it out, but I'll stay around anyway if you are. So it don't matter. But what I'm saying is the 90 days is good to get to know a person, because in 90 days, like your job give you 90 days, because they know one thing, in 91 days, you gonna start being late. And the old person gonna start coming out. The 90-day rule is good to get to know a person, but to put a time frame on sex, like you said, that's not good, because I know people that waited 5 years or waited 2 or 3 years and the sex wasn't good and they went on about their business. Now you done wasted 2 years. And I'm not saying to have sex, because I think that you should wait as a Christian, but we talking about worldly perspective, that people that ain't waiting, because people on here now, people ain't waiting on listening to God. They in church and they ain't waiting on sex. So you need to get to know a person. Number one, you need to know their family, because you need to know if they family crazy and they got challenged people in their family.
Mhm.
And if they, because you need to know the background. Because if I had known, I'd have found out their granddaddy, great granddaddy, before you lay down with these folks. Because when you enter to these spirits, and then you have these kids by your kids a reflection of both backgrounds. So
Mhm.
I ain't want to go deep, but the 90 days is good to learn a person. It's good to get to know a person, but to put time frame on sex, when you're a Christian, is non-negotiable. But if you're in the world, you still need to get to know a person before you lay down with them at any time, because that's your soul you're gonna get to somebody. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Forget your goods, you're gonna give them your spirit, and they gonna give you that spirit, and ain't no telling, what you gonna catch after that.
Mm.
And see, Toy, that's what one of the things that he said. Like we got Christians watching, non-Christians are watching. So that's the way I look at things when I give advice about what they should or should not do. What are you already doing at this point that's not working? And
Mhm.
how can we change that? A lot of times the women always say, I want my Boaz.
Mhm.
But we think about who Boaz was, who his mother was.
Mhm.
What tendencies did he get from Rahab? What struggles might he have in his marriage later on because of who his mother was and what her tendencies were and what curse that might have been passed down generationally. So
Mhm.
it's like when you think about it, it's a mind thing. If you know the game, men and nowadays women, because women are a little bit more aggressive than men, you can
Mhm.
put 90 days on it and they'll stick around for that 90 days to get that. And then they'll move on because now they done knocked it off. Now they got what they want.
They got what they want. Mhm.
Unless it's good.
Unless it's good. That's when they got that comeback, ain't it?
they come
They got that
back.
comeback. They ain't going nowhere. They got their comeback.
I'm sorry.
So that's like within them 90 days, like I said, you get to know people. But I just think that it's a conversation that definitely should be felt. It should be discussed up front.
Mhm.
What your standards are, what your morals are, and what your long time goal is.
Mhm. That's good. Yep, that's true. Because I
And
know. Go ahead, Pastor.
No, I was just gonna say this. In a way, even if you ain't Christian, even if you in church or not deep in church, man, you should want to keep yourself anyway. You know what I'm saying? And because you need to keep them miles down. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you've already been out the garage. You know what I'm saying? I'm just
Did you say
telling
math?
the truth. You gotta keep them miles down, especially men, because we die early. Y'all know what I mean. So I ain't talking about no physical death. So we need to be trying to keep ourselves. I'm just being honest, because at the end of the day, is you want something that's gonna be lasting and long for with your spouse, and not having. Because one thing a man don't want, and women different. Women, y'all will take us. We be used cars and everything, and y'all will take us in our bags and stuff. But one thing about a man, if he knows she done been around the corner, down the block, up the highway, up a hill, back down the hill, he ain't gonna fool with her like that. But a woman will fool with a man like that, but because we got different standards. So I think even from a not even Christian perspective, man, just keep yourself. You know what I'm saying? And to do the best you can. When they call you, talking about, and this no lie, I got a testimony. I had somebody call me recently. I had to pray the Lord. I said no, and no, and no, and no. But guess what? But I felt better at the end because I didn't go. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm trying my best to do what God wants me to do. And we're gonna be challenged. If you ain't Pastor Ray said this one time, he said, if you ain't been challenged, that means you something wrong with you.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nobody ever approached you that way. So whatever. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was saying that I know I've been, I've gone through that, telling a guy that, I'm celibate, I'm abstaining, my commitment to God is more important than my commitment to you as of right now, right? But even in that, even in telling that guy that, or the guys that, they still don't shoot their shot. They still want Netflix and chill. They still gonna want to rub the inner thigh. They still want to massage your feet. They still gonna want to try you, because even though you didn't put it up front, I told them like, hey, I'm you know, I'm a minister, I'm a preacher, I do this, I do that, and my commitment to God is more important than my commitment to you as of right now. But they still gonna shoot their shot. So you have to be able to be strong in that, you know, because your flesh get weak too. Women flesh get weak too. You know, he rubbing your feet, he doing the good. You know, the feet, that's all it, you know, takes sometimes. You start with the feet. But anyway, so
And then reel it in.
my feet good, you know, you get me all relaxed, and then, you know, we Netflixing and chilling, and I like you anyway as a person. That's why I don't Netflix and chill. Because
Yeah, and it's natural anyway.
right, you know, but you know what your triggers are. You know what I'm saying? If you know what your triggers are, you know not to do it.
Right.
But people also have to understand, especially Christians, if our relationships are not deeper than our warfare gonna kill us. And so with our warfare even killing us, if it's sex, if it's the desire for, you know, the touch or anything, our warfare, if it's stronger than if our relationship is stronger than our warfare, you know, it's gonna take us out of here. So do I want to have a relationship that's unhealthy, that I think may be healthy for me, but it's not in the will of God? So am I so out of the will because I work in ministry that I'm gonna allow my flesh to, you know, to be healed and be touched today, versus God already knew, and then I'm gonna repent later. But you know, right now I just got to go ahead and get it because I had you know, looking at a man as a Lay's potato chip. Their slogan is, "You just can't have one." And so, therefore, you have some warfare. You can't have one because you have been out there, and now your body telling you that you want something, and so you don't know how to deal with the warfare because you want to deal with the relationship over the warfare that you have within yourself. And so, I think people need to reel themselves back in.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned about warfare. I remember when I lived in Kentucky, I traveled. I did everything with our pastor and first lady. I kept myself busy in church because when I was single, right? But I knew my warfare. I was a sex addict. I was addicted to sex.
Mm-hmm.
So when I came into the knowledge of knowing I was addicted to sex, I was a nympho. When I sat up under Pastor Sears, and I had to acknowledge under his teaching what holiness really was, what it looked like, what it felt like, and what I had to denounce within myself, I had to start planning my days and my nights around those moments of worship and fighting warfare, and not put myself in a position or talk to somebody during those low moments where I knew that would open the door of lust. That will open the door of me wanting to go kick it and Netflix and chill and have me in that moment where now I done went and had 3 to 5 minutes of fun, and now I'm fit to fight 5 to 7 years of demons, because now I'm tied to his soul. Now he's tied to my soul. Now the demons that I done fought off, now I got a whole new bunch to fight. So it's good that you're talking about that warfare, because that's what the truth is. We do have to recognize our weaknesses and limit ourselves and not put ourselves in those situations.
Yeah, and that's one thing you have to, because Nick, as a pastor, and a lot of pastors won't admit to this, but when they get done preaching, after they get the mountaintop still is up there, because that's at your highest peak. And I had to learn it, because a long time ago I didn't realize that, and I had to put myself in these positions. And I in a position where I understood when I got done, especially if I preached a hard, good sermon and God did on me, that devil come right at me, and then I'd be ready.
Yeah.
And I'm just open. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready. I'm telling you, cause that's why it's good for a man to be married. Because at the end of the day then you have to learn how to be disciplined with yourself. Like me, when I go home on Sunday, when I get out of church, I go home on Sunday. And like you were saying, man, some people have natural high sex drives. You got to keep yourself out of those positions, because all you got to do is blow on me. You ain't got to rub no feet. All you got to do is, and I'm gone. You know what I'm saying? I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. So, you know what I'm saying? I don't need all this crime. And they be like, you ready? Yeah. So guess what I do? I go home and I chill. I stay to myself, because at the end of the day I know me. I don't care how I don't care how delivered, how sanctified, Holy Ghost filled you is.
That's right.
If you get in the position, the Bible say flee from fornication. You can't sit there and rebuke sex and the natural desire that God created. You can't come and rebuke the devil. No, you better get up,
You better
put
get
your
up and
clothes
go.
on, and get out of there. Because if you don't, you gonna go. You gonna, I'm telling you, show us your name. You're gonna be talking about, I'm sorry, on my way home. Because at the end of the day is we all, your flesh, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. So you have to keep yourself out of those. The old woman told me, she said, don't let no woman come to your house past 10 o'clock. She told me that. And I said, and if they come past 10 o'clock, ain't nothing going down, because both of y'all gonna get sleeping. And that's it.
Like when you talk about, even for those that's watching this in ministry, like people think because you're a minister, you evangelist, you're a pastor, you're a preacher, a prophet, whatever the title is, that you don't wrestle with anything, or
That's
even
right.
like with singleness, the gifts come without repentance.
That's right. That's what the
But
Bible
when
says.
he calls us with the understanding that we still have issues and flaws that we have to deal with from within. So the teachings that we have, that's key and vital in our lives and how we implement them into our day-to-day walk. So it's like if you're in ministry, like when I was single, I knew I couldn't hang with certain family members. I knew I couldn't hang with certain friends anymore because I knew what we would do, and I knew that was of my past. So I knew that if they were still doing those things, and that was something that I used to wrestle with, it's easy for me to get tempted if I put myself in that situation around those kind of people. Not that I'm better than them, not that they're worse than me. It's simply me acknowledging what I deal with within my heart, within my spirit. And last time we talked about soul ties, and that's the key. When you know what you've been wrestling with, you don't what you don't want to lay down with, because you know what you delivered and set free from, and freedom is a choice. And we got to choose it daily, in conversations with with the encounters, whatever we do every day. I can go to the gas station right now, and if I have on a certain outfit, I'm gonna attract a certain kind of people, because that's how I'm carrying myself. So if we as women think why men treat us like we female dogs, or like we a piece of meat, if all you got hanging out is meat, then they gonna want to bite. Now, wow.
I'm just telling y'all, and that's, I'm gonna tell you another thing. We got pastors and preachers, and I ain't knocking them, that you're going home to your spouse, so you can go home and get you a fix. You telling the single folk, keep yourself, but you got to understand, you got to do more than just telling me to keep myself. So you're gonna go home and lay up, and we're gonna be wanting till your head pop off. So now, you know what I'm saying? You gotta teach them, okay, the dynamics behind it, and instead of pushing it, teach me how to not put myself in these positions. Tell me when I do, because it ain't enough teaching about when I get horny. I'm sorry, y'all. If I get horny, what I need, how I need to handle this time, and teach me. Because sometimes the world ain't gonna get it. You'll throw that Bible across that room because you're frustrated. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, they going home to their husband, their spouse, and you going home looking and you about to shoot somebody just because. You know what I'm saying? And so we need to teach people that the benefits, and like Bree, she gonna have a situation. She ain't gotta worry about no baby daddy drama, going down to juvenile court.
Come on now.
She ain't gotta worry about all these other things, with different guys. She gonna only know one person. She gonna have nothing to compare nothing with. Now, when you have sex before marriage, you gotta compare all these folks from you've been with. Now, if you ain't been with two people, that's cool. But some of the other folks been on, you gotta compare that, because now you like, oh, it ain't gonna be good. So now that's another thing that keep us single people from getting married. And I'm gonna move on. Because we compare sex and money will destroy marriage and communication.
Yeah.
So you'll compare the sex when you have, especially if you get a man that, that can't swim, and you get a woman that you're about to drown. I'm just telling y'all the truth. And at the end of the day,
you got to know how to swim.
If it ain't good, guess what? You're gonna be entangled.
You got to learn how to backstroke.
So then you be trying to think about, I need to test this. No, you don't need to test this. You need God to reveal this. You know what I'm saying? So you need God to reveal it, because if you test it, you're gonna put yourself in trouble and you're gonna find yourself out of his will. So the best thing to do is wait on God and make sure you be specific with God. Tell him exactly what you want. Don't be talking about, God, just send me a good man. You're gonna send you a good man. And the rest gonna be history.
Okay, on this last one, that was real good, Pastor. But on this last one, I got a last question. I know somebody sent me a question about masturbation. We talked about oral sex the last time. Don't look like that, Pastor. We got a question about oral sex the last time. We answered that. So let's answer this question about masturbation. Is masturbation really a sin? Is it okay for them to masturbate? Instead of going out and going across the street and, knocking on door number one, or, is it okay to open up your drawer and get that toy out of there and, take care of yourself? Just want to know. It's a question. It's a question. We said we're open, right?
Can we hear from the word?
Hey, y'all want me to go?
Yeah, I want you to go.
Y'all want me to go first?
Yep.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, we want you to go. We're going to piggyback on you.
Do y'all want the the political correct and the okay. Let me
Courtney, that's what I said too.
I think I'm gonna have to leave pass off and just talk Courtney now.
Okay, it's Courtney. Okay, it's Courtney now.
Oh no, but seriously. Now, biblically, you know it's wrong. Because you remember one of David's sons was supposed to go into I think his daughter-in-law husband, the other son had died. Somebody's story, I can't think of the story right now. And he spilled his seed on the ground, and he was supposed to, have reproduced, and God killed him right there on the spot because of it. Now I ain't saying God will kill you now, but I don't. That's a sense of wasting. You see, and you open up yourself to more things, because once you jumpstart that, it comes into a perversion, because you start to want more, because you just feeding your spirit. I'm talking about spiritually, because once you get that feeling, you're gonna want a real feeling. Because after a while, it may go off. Yeah, you may stop it and you may not see it, but you're gonna want it again. And some people struggle with it. My testimony, at years I struggled with that kind of spirit, and God delivered me from that. It took a lot of prayer and fasting and seeking God, because I thought that, okay, long as I ain't mess with nobody, it wasn't good. You know what I'm saying? And it's cool, but the end of the day is, when that stuff happens, it opens up more doors for other things to happen. On the worldly level,
Come on.
y'all put me in the hot seat. Ooh, on the worldly level, I have to do this claim. These folks gonna hang me. Y'all, Lord Jesus. On the worldly level.
Undo that button. Come on out
level,
with it.
Seriously, on the worldly level, it's not. On the world level, it keeps people from having to go and have sex, and it keeps them safe from all this stuff that's going on. Now, that's on them, because people does this because it's people that can do this thing and they never would touch a person, and they help them relieve whatever they need to do. But I don't even want to go there. Y'all go. I'm
You helping somebody.
You helping somebody today, pal. Come on.
Okay. So, but on the world level, people do that because they don't want to be entangled with nobody else. Because you got women that would do that and won't touch nobody. They ain't gonna, once they done. And women don't have a sex drive like me, and most women, so they don't have to worry about that. They don't have to have it like me and me to have it. I don't know why sex drive is 10 times higher.
Wait. Did you say women don't need to have it?
No, I'm saying, I said not all women. I'm not saying all women. Some women are exception to the rule, but I'm saying majority of men have a higher sex drive. I don't know if it's because of stress of life, different things they deal with, and because they're just some God put in people. Men, I'm sorry. But most women, like men, talk about sex. I don't care if they Christian, they they worldly, they gonna talk about it at some point in time. If they even make a comment, and if I'm wrong, I'm gonna ask Bree this question: do any man you dated talk about sex even just a little bit? Okay, so and she's super saved, so so
You leave Brie alone.
no, I ain't saying no bad, but I'm using her as an example because it's the truth, and so I'm just proving my point that with masturbation, people feel like it's a form of release. That way, they don't have to worry about STDs, having multiple sex partners, and when they done, they done. For some folks, they can get away with it. For other folks, it open up doors for them. Now, to each his own. This is something you got to deal with between you and God and yourself. But at the end of the day is, my advice is, don't play with it.
Mm. Just let it go. Just let it ride. Huh?
Let it go, because I'm telling you, I went from I'm gonna tell you how bad it was for me, and I think Kurt Franklin talked about that. I went from DVDs all the way from CDs to cell phone. I would go to store. I'm telling you, all the way to cell phone, but I had to learn. Okay, this ain't it. And I had to ask God to pray me, and it just went. And crazy part about it, it just went away. And but I know real preachers, they ain't gonna say this kind of stuff because they get deep. But I struggle with these things. Sex was my biggest. I didn't have to have nothing else, but sex was my biggest problem in my life. And I felt like that, and I got hurt as a young age. So my way of proving my love to women when I dated them is to put her on. That's it, because that's all I had to do, because I felt under love. So my way to show my love was to do my best in the bedroom. So now that's why I'm on all these child support right now. So.
The consequence.
I did my best. Now I'm paying for the rest. Y'all don't laugh at me. I'm telling the truth. So listen, it is what it is.
Yeah, we appreciate you being truthful.
But Pastor Courtney, I also think that people, I'm so happy that you took the lead in answering this question. But even talking, as a non-minister, I think that from conversations I've had and just, everything, when you are addicted to a toy in your nightstand, or you addicted to yourself and it's not being taught anywhere, and you are self-teaching and self-pleasuring yourself, I think you rob yourself of the opportunity of that man or that woman that you are going to that will potentially be your spouse, because you so used to the fulfillment of that, it has gotten you, it has gotten you aroused, gotten you off so many times that when it comes to the real thing, you looking for something else, and that is not going to suffice. And so then you going out, say, maybe, that wasn't the right one, but your toy or yourself have taken the pleasure and the luxury out of the man or the woman that God has set up for you. And so now you set yourself apart from the person who God has designed you for, because you decided to go ahead and relieve yourself versus allowing God to place somebody in your path that's going to relieve you for life.
Yeah.
True. That's true.
So throw the toys away, people. Okay, Pastor Courtney said, but I'm gonna tell you, throw them away. That's your first step into deliverance. Okay, that's your first step. Then get you a counselor.
But the toys ain't the problem. They got hands too, man.
They do.
Right, toys and hands.
They do.
And
so they're an accountability person.
And what?
I'm gonna take the approach to Pastor Courtney.
Bath water.
I'm gonna go to right first. So Genesis 2:24 says, therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother and hold fast to his wife, and they shall become one flesh, right? So sex is originally for husband and wife as they become one, right? So if we go into masturbation, that's allowing the portal of selfish,
the violation of marriage,
to come into play of what is supposed to be for the union of you and your spouse. So if we're teaching this, that this is what it's supposed to be for, then the understanding of how do I rid myself of, one, I've been having sex, two, I've been masturbating. One, you said deliverance starts at throwing away the toy, right? I just believe that in the transforming of that person's mind of understanding their value
Yeah.
for their marriage. That their body is their temple, and they have to treat it such, and they're violating that temple by masturbating.
Yeah.
Right. So
That's real good.
it is, and in real understanding, if they're not a Christian and they're asking this question about masturbation and is it right or wrong, if they're saying I'm doing this because I don't want diseases, I don't want a baby, this is my way of protecting myself, that's where we step in and give them the wisdom and knowledge of how to rid themselves of the violation, because the open portal, masturbation, opens so many other portals. Because I'm being honest, transparent. When I shifted from being in ministry, dating, and finding out that I had been dating a man for a year who was married with an 8-week-old baby, I knew nothing about the marriage or the baby, right? At the end of that, I ended up sleeping with his baby mama, which opened the door for lesbianism. Yeah, testimony powerful.
Testimony. Come on now.
So
I wasn't expecting that one. That was
right. So we being real, because somebody needs to be delivered and set free, right?
That's right. Come on, Tosh.
So in that, I said I was a sex addict. So when I became celibate, I was pushing like the only way to keep me from being out there with everybody else, men or women, was masturbation. But until I realized it was a violation before marriage, and like Tiffany, like Minister Evangelist Tiffany said,
That's right. Call her again. I didn't told her.
Like Minister Evangelist Tiffany said, it, you know, that portal for me was like a definitely a stronghold that opened so many more other doors of curiosity. I didn't know how to get deliverance from that very thing that I thought was okay. You know what I'm saying? So deliverance for me was me throwing away the toy. But what is the Bible? Whom the Son set free indeed.
Yeah.
Being a Christian, I wanted to be free. But I didn't want the word just to set me free. I wanted to be free. I wanted to make me free. Freedom came from the knowledge of understanding what this meant to me and God. Like, we don't teach celibacy enough and the reasons why we should be celibate. But in this day and age with so much going on, this is why we need to be having these conversations of it's important to know the value of your body, because there's so much more out here. So when I got married, my struggle wasn't just from my past for men. Some people are completely, totally delivered and set free, and you'll never experience again. That wasn't my story. So my story was, because we stopped having sex, the door was open of, okay, I'm a sex addict. My husband is not. I need a toy. Lord, you're going to have to help me. So I had to pray for me, pray for my husband, and then I had to pray for my private area. Y'all think that's so serious? Because, baby, she got a man of her own sometimes. And so in whole honesty and truth, I saw a question about somebody's husband being locked up, incarcerated.
Right.
When your person locked up and incarcerated, you got to figure out what you got to do if you're going to hold true to your vows. Because in marriage, every part of your vows is going to get tested. It's going to get tested. Yeah. But it's your choice of action. You'll have to deal with the consequences of how you respond to the temptations that come with sex, and then let's think about Will and Jada. Like they don't profess to be Christians, right? So I saw a lot of statuses talking about adultery. But the bed is undefiled between a husband and a wife.
That's right.
So if they were in agreement, then she didn't commit adultery. According to them, they're not Christians. They don't believe what we believe. So we can't really hold them to our standard. We have to show them and teach them what's true. And when they walk into the trueness of light and acknowledge who Jesus Christ is, then they'll know how they're supposed to be living. That's all I got.
That was
I
good.
wasn't expecting it though. I ain't gonna lie. You shot us all the way to the left. I had to turn to the side. I said, no, she hit it with a curveball. I thought you were saying you were gonna do something else. She done took the main baby mama. Oh, Jesus.
Look, I'm telling you, Courtney.
Hey,
I say God done brought me through a whole lot. He done brought. I should have lost my mind a long time ago. But
the one thing I can say, I ain't never gonna have enough of that to go to the other side. I ain't going to the other side.
Don't go.
I ain't never going over there. But I want to hear from Bree. We didn't get to hear from Bree about her perspective about this. She say, come on.
Come on, Bree.
Okay, I'm gonna be real. Like, I'm saved, obviously, but I'm still human.
That's right.
So
Come on.
at a very young age, I was revealed to pornography at a very young age. And that, of course, opened up so many doors. And so for a large portion of my life, though I've never, had sex, that was a part of my life that was a stronghold for me. And so I'm walking in that freedom now, thank God. But that's something like all of y'all were saying, it literally opens doors, it opens portals that honestly is hard to close. And so like Miss Tiffany was saying of how like you're doing these things and you are creating what's supposed to be for your husband or for your wife, you're now doing these things yourself. And so like, even though you don't have anybody, in my case, have any person per se to compare with, you have this thing that you've been dealing with. Mm-hmm. So, and like you were saying, Pastor Courtney, of how like, even in a worldly sense, it's still something that you open up doors to, that it becomes addictive, it becomes a stronghold for you. And so I believe personally that it shouldn't be done because it, like I was saying, it defiles the body. Your body is your temple, right? And so, it's just personally, it opens up so many doors for the enemy to come in and kind of rob you, your identity, and you deal with a lot, at least in my case, you deal with a lot of shame, you deal with a lot of guilt, even when God has, allow you to walk in that freedom. It's an everyday renewing of the mind, because the enemy will still try to attack and try to hold you in that position of stronghold and feeling the guilt and the shame of like you done this before. And so it try to keep you bound in this position, in my case. So, yeah, I definitely think that's something not to be played around with because it literally opens up a lot of doors that can be hard to shut. So, yeah.
Well, that's good, Bray. But you know what? In the sense now, in this society, pornography is like right there. You know what I'm saying? Like when we was growing up, we had that with books and you had to go to the sex shop, get VHS tapes and all that stuff. But now all you got to do is use this right here, scroll, type in, and there it is right there, right? So I can see why our young people, that's all they see. And then especially on TV, the Housewives of Atlanta, the Greenleafs, all this is showing, all they doing is showing, being promiscuous and adultery and all of this. And so it's feeding into our society and not understanding that what goes in our ear gates and our eye gates affects our spirituality. So we be wanting to do that, what we see. Right?
It become normalized.
Yes, it become normalized. And y'all really helping me because I really, for a long time, I didn't think masturbation, because it wasn't just spelled out in the Bible, was wrong. It just like you said, Pastor Courtney, on not the normalcy, not the Christian walk, but just everyday walk, it kept me. It kept me from, doing the late night BCs or going across the street or whatever, whatever the case.
Kept me a lot of nights.
yeah, it kept me from calling, even when my flesh was, what you say, Tasha, when that girl was start talking, when she started doing it, you know, it kept me from calling, from picking up that phone and calling who I knew that I could call. So I mean, even in the violation of marriage, you know, you share something with, I learned something tonight about this just
Yeah.
being a violation of marriage. And I believe
And,
a lot of people don't know about that.
and it kept me, because I'm telling you something, I had phone calls, I was getting ready to go somewhere. I said, you know what? I just take care of myself, and then get what? I ain't got to see him. I ain't got to go over there. And,
Right.
but the thing, it kept me from going to that person. But at the end of the day, it's still opening doors up. And I think like a lot of this stuff, even I know tonight, man, you know, Christians can be so. That's why I'm glad my church non-traditional and all this stuff, because I can be transparent and people be transparent. I can have these type of form because they know me. I ain't that dude to walk around here with this kind of stuff. And I don't care what nobody think about me, because number one, they ain't paying tithes in my church and they don't pay my bills and they ain't got a heaven and hell to put me in. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna tell people the truth because we obligated. Now I think that's why we got so much homosexuality in the church, and we got so much sex going in the church, and you up here preaching to all these people and all these, and I don't care what they say, you got all these unfamiliar spirits in your pulpits and in your choir stand and all this stuff because you don't teach them the proper way. You know what I'm saying? You, as long as they're paying tithes and offerings, is cool. But we got to learn how to teach people. Hey, I tell my single ladies in church, I said, listen, man, don't be giving these jokers nothing. Nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you know, what are you gonna have left? And it's cool, you know, you may slip and they slip. You know, don't get this twisted. They slip because you didn't had it before. But when you slip, get back up on the horse, keep riding, and don't, you know, if you do fall, try to fall 6, 7 months, a year from now. Because it's gonna, you know, because you weak at the end of the day is when you start building that strength up, because some people can go cold turkey. You know what I'm saying? And it's cool. Then you got some people that just say, hey, I'll go 6 months, then I'll slip 6 months. Then they go another year, they slip a year. Then they'll go 5 years. And then after that, they like, I got it now. You know what I'm saying? So everybody can't just take the training wheels off and ride the bike. Some people got to take the training wheels off and somebody got to assist them while they doing it. You know what I'm saying? We quick to tell people, God has his permissive will and he got his perfect will. So go ahead. I'm done.
Well, you guys, we have been on here for almost, well, past 2 hours. I really appreciate y'all. So as we bring this other dating game to a close, I'm gonna give each one of you guys 2 minutes. Let's wrap it up in 2 minutes. I want y'all to encourage our listeners out there, the millennials, the pastors, the married and in ministry, the single in ministry, the side chicks, the people that's side chicks, side dudes, you know, in this Rachel and Leah concept. I want you guys to take 2 minutes to encourage somebody out there, because everybody needs some encouragement sometimes, right? All right. So Bree, I want you to start off with the millennials. Just give them a two-minute encouragement for this day and age.
Well, specifically for our current generation of how everything is, it's a social media generation, and we see everything on social media. We see the couples and things of that sort. I just want to encourage the fellow millennials out there to just remain before God, hold true to your values, hold true to the things that you believe, your boundaries. And don't settle for someone just for the sake of saying that you have someone. Be secure in yourself first before, you know, wanting to indulge in dating. Know that no one can complete you, only God can complete you. So you find that fulfillment and allow God to fill that void in you. And God definitely will bring, if God is giving you that desire, he definitely will bring that person into your life at the right time. So don't let society and social media and everyone else's voice pressure you into moving into something prematurely. So yeah, just be encouraged and know that if God gave you that desire, he's definitely going to fulfill it in his proper time.
Amen. Amen. All right, Tasha, give your 2 minute encouraging word, although you already hope the people, but go ahead and give them 2 more minutes.
Bless God. I just want to encourage anybody that's out there, whether single, married. I always say, know your identity. When you know who you are and you know whose you are, it makes life so much better for you. And when you're going through trials and temptations may come, but you know where your help comes, and it comes from above, comes from the Lord. Once you know your identity, you know your purpose. And when you're walking in your purpose, you'll be in the right position. For the single ladies, you don't have to go looking for him because you hold the favor. God will strategically put you in position to be in his field, to be found. So you don't have to go searching for him. Let him find you. And then when in the wait, know who you are, be satisfied who you are, find out who you are, find out what you like and what you don't like and what your deal breakers are. Date, but that doesn't mean have sex with everybody. But date, get to know the people, and be okay with saying he is not the one. Be okay with saying she is not the one, and let me move on. And thirdly, just love you. Find you, be you, and love you. When you love yourself, you won't stand for foolishness. God bless.
Amen. Amen. Minister Evangelist Tiffany Sarita.
I'm gonna get you when we get off this call.
Hey, but I wasn't the only one that said it now. I told you a long time ago that you had that calling on your life, so don't do me. Tasha just confirmed it. Okay.
This is not what we're talking about tonight. But I'm not running from a call, y'all. You know, I've ran a long time. But if that's what God wants to do, I'm really, at God's beck and call. But I want to say before I even start out, I've enjoyed everybody on the panel. But Bree, I really love you. You are, you don't find people that's really transparent, that's your age, that's really young. And they want to not only live life as, as saved as possible, but you doing it for real. You're not out here faking it. You're doing it for real. And you saying, God, I'm flawed and I may not have it all together, but I'm doing it for real. So anybody who have children that are, millennials, Bree had said this, but I just want to speak into her future that, God has put her on this platform for a reason. And so I just see bigger and better things and greater things, and her being able to heal some people and open some doors for people who did not know that this is, they were led here, and parents didn't know that while they were on the call or while they were led here. But one thing I want to tell married people, don't jump in marriage thinking that marriage is going to solve everything that you desire before you got married, that you still desire after you got married. I need you to understand that marriage is a marathon. It is not a sprint. And so sometimes you get tired. Sometimes you don't like each other. Sometimes you are frustrated with each other. Sometimes conversations, are had that need to be hashed out. And so you need to learn how to communicate, and you need to learn each other's love language. And so I just implore you to get to be covered by somebody, by a couple that cannot be biased with you, but can walk you through, and that can cover your marriage, not as your friends. You don't need your friends covering you. That's fine. They can pray for you. But you need somebody who can really cover you spiritually, emotionally, cover every area. And so therefore, your marriage can last. Your marriage can last. And so you need to reassess that, and you need to reassess who you are, because as women, we evolve. And so I need you to be able to evolve and know that men don't catch up to us in our evolution the way we evolve. And so I need you to be able to have some grace and some patience.
Amen. Evangelist, I appreciate your last words. Bree, I told you that in the beginning on our last dating game that, God has so much in store for you, honey. You just don't know. I see so much potential. You're a bright young lady. I see just blossoming like a flower, basically. This is just one platform that you're going to start on. It's going to be many platforms that you're going to open up, and it's going to open up for you. And don't be afraid. Don't just walk in it, because your footsteps are ordered by the Lord. It's already set in stone. God has already called you. It's already in you. Whatever it is that you have been called to do is in you. Don't ever doubt it. It's going to come out. Okay. Pastor, your last 2 words.
Listen, y'all done got somebody delivered on here, because the lady gonna throw all her toys away. She said she gonna throw all her toys away. She needed to have a proper burial, and she said she want to know who gonna preside over the funeral. So y'all done got somebody delivered tonight.
Thank
That's
you.
So,
right.
but I do want to encourage those. It's still hope. It's it's still hope. Keep hope alive, but it's still hope. I want to say this. It's don't throw all the men and women away in 2020, y'all. I know 2020 be rough. We're in Jumanji right now, and we don't know what next level we're going to. But I believe that there's still some good women and men. So they may be in your inbox. They may be in your DM. They may be in the supermarket. They may be somewhere. Don't. Sometimes God won't wrap the thing like you want it. Sometimes, but be open minded. That's what dating is for. And what I say this. There's so many times that women are turning good men down or vice versa, and you don't get them an opportunity because of what you're used to. You may be turned down your blessing. So that's one thing. And enjoy dating. Don't make it about marriage just so quickly. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy the dating process. Become friends and best friends and know each other and find out ups and downs. You know what I'm saying? And enjoy the process, because I think we put so much pressure, and marriage is the key. Marriage is the ultimate goal. But if you don't enjoy the journey, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna miss the whole process, and you're gonna be married and wonder why how you laying next to this person. But then also, lastly on the thing is, I enjoyed this. It even helped alleviate some of my frustration. Y'all didn't have my shirt on, but I'm drinking a whole bottle of water, everything. But my thing is, pray for me in this season, because I know my blessing is close, but I want to make sure God gets the right person to line up for my life, and not just for ministry. Because that's one thing I tell people all the time: this may not last forever. I ain't trying to be no 90, 70, 80-year-old preacher. So I might retire 50. I'm 42 now. So you know what I'm saying? I just want to do what God tells me to do and enjoy the process. And I think that don't be so negative. And I'm talking to the women. Don't be so negative when it comes to men, because you had a bad experience with one man. They don't mean that all men the same way. And you may have 5 bad experiences, but that one experience may be the best experience of your life. So be open, even men, be open to the person that God sent you, because that's what my prayer was. I said, Lord, listen, I tried it my way. I had my picks. So now, God, you teach me, you show me. And if she's right, she'll be right in every area for me. And of course, she's gonna, be beautiful, and she's gonna be able to wear that thong in Jesus' name. Hallelujah.
And throw that in there, didn't it? The thong. We know what you want.
She better get these 5 miles in a day, y'all. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Ask and it shall be given unto you.
That's what he said.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. That's what he said.
If I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna go out smoking. I'm gonna go out the best way I know how.
Well, I thank you guys for tuning in on this dating game. I appreciate my panelists for taking the time out, 2 hours out of your Sunday, well, 2.5 hours actually, out of your Sunday, just to have this talk on dating. This is the second time we have. I don't know if we're gonna have a dating 3. If people, inbox me, they inboxed me last time requesting for a second one, but the whole purpose, like I said in the beginning of my dating game, is to make people aware that Christians do date, and what's the proper way of dating. And also to know that you have to be healed. I also have Beautifully Flawed, and it's talking about how it's beauty behind the mask, that we have to take the mask off, because if we don't deal with the hurt that we have, and all we doing is hurt people. And so we constantly go into a relationship after relationship after relationship, and we're never getting healed, and we're never getting an understanding, and we're never being taught on the proper way of dealing with ourselves, dealing with the things the things that are unseen, the demonic forces that we don't even realize that we deal with. Then we have failed ourselves. We are constantly, hurting other people. So my point in this is just to make sure that you are properly healed, and to know you, and to be you, and to love you. Self-care, self-love, heal. You have to heal, your heart. We get, hurt, and we do things to other people, and we have to recognize, being able to accept it and embrace it, and heal from it. You understand? We have childhood trauma sometimes that we deal with in relationships that it's not the other person's fault, but he or she doesn't know that. You know that you're dealing with this childhood drama, and this is what is coming about, this anger, this addiction, this frustration, and it has nothing to do with that person. So you wind up hurting this person, and this person gonna hurt somebody else, and so on and so forth. It's just a cycle. So sometimes we have to stop the cycle. And so that's what my whole goal is. It's to heal. It's to help you get delivered and to understand generational curses and spiritual soul ties and emotional soul ties and physical soul ties. All of that is real. And I just want people to understand, because church, we don't teach on soul ties. We don't teach on the demonic world. We don't teach on these things, the familiar spirits, all the different demonic spirits. But you need to know it, and you need to know what you're up against, the warfare that you're up against. So that is my whole goal into this dating game. And I will be amiss to end this and not offer salvation unto you, not offer you prayer. And it's easy as ABC. A, accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior. B, you just believe in your heart. And C, you just confess your sin and you ask Jesus to come into your life. So if you put into in these comments down here, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people that are willing and able to pray for you, to bring you into salvation. That's our whole goal in life. God has called us to bring people unto salvation. That's what we do. That's all we do. You know, he uses us as a vessel, wherever lane that he put us in. We are vessels that we are used by him. Pastor, a prophet, teacher, evangelist, whatever we are only used by him to bring you to him for salvation. So if we got anybody that's in here, I don't see anybody that wants, but we did get somebody delivered. So because she's gonna bury her toys and make a proper burial, and she really don't understand that is a break. You are breaking soul ties. You are breaking a spiritual soul tie, a curse. So if anybody also, if anybody that's on here that touched you, please feel free to cash out me to sow into to their lives. Bree, tell people your cash app just real quick. If somebody want to sow into your life, tell them your cash app.
It's my name at the $, Darielle Neely.
Okay, so it's Darielle, $Darielle Neely, and Pastor is $SOC, no, Spirit of
No.
Christ.
Spirit of Christ number 3.
Spirit of Christ number 3. If Pastor Courtney has blessed you on tonight, Minister Dillard, what's yours?
Lotarsha, capital L-O, capital T-A-R-S-H-A, Lotarsha.
$, Latasha. And Tiffany Sarita, what's yours?
T. Sarita.
T. Sarita. So y'all make sure, even if y'all got y'all devices handy, make sure y'all put it in the comments so somebody can maybe want to bless you, because they did this for free. All this free information, all this free knowledge, all this they gave you. They are not asking for a dime. We are just simply being vessels and being used by God just to give you this knowledge. So y'all be a blessing to the people tonight. I appreciate everybody that tuned in on tonight. And I thank you. If I didn't see anybody that said that they wanted prayer or anything, but just if you have prayer later on, just DM me and we'd be happy to pray. I will be happy to pray for you. Okay. That's what we're here for. We're here to help, to assist, and to hold you accountable. Okay. So y'all have a good night. Panelists, if y'all was just staying on for a second after I stopped the live, but y'all have a good night. Before we go, I'm gonna pray for you. And I just ask that God just do exceedingly abundantly above all that you can think or ask, according to the power that work in you. So it's the power that work in you that God would do the exceedingly and abundantly. So y'all have a blessed week. I pray that there's no lacking in your life. I pray the blessings of God in your life, that you'll have a blessed week. You'll have a prosperous week, and you will have a productive week. God bless.
Toodle.